So I could be wrong on that, but at this point, I think they'll keep him, and I think they will give him some type of contract because he's going to be up for a contract and he's going to want to negotiate. But with these recent activities that has happened, obviously that's going to play a part in how they pay him. So they are going to put a contract together, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be something probably incentive laden or something that will give the team an out if anything does come out later on down the road, or if there is something that Tyreek would do because he got in trouble before he got into the league. That's why he fell in the draft, and now he is in the league and he has proved, that he can play in the league. So obviously, his worth goes up at that point. But you get into some trouble or dilemma, I should say, while you're in the league, and they don't find anything, but anything could be possible. Look at, and I don't want to, beat on people or anything. That's not the right word. I apologize for that. I don't want to harp on a situation, but Kareem Hunt, he had multiple incidents that was out there reported of things that he got into. So, these teams, they're going to protect themselves. They're going to protect themselves and give him a contract. But one thing is for sure, Tyreek Hill is back in the league. And guys, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, Sammy Watkins, and anybody else with the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm sure is ecstatic to have him back. Now, someone that don't have him back, that would be the LA Chargers, and that would be Melvin Gordon. Training camp has officially started, and Melvin Gordon is an official holdout to camp. So he has kept to his word. He informed the team that he was not going to show up, and he is looking for a new deal. So he is sticking to his guns on that and not showing up. Now, I talked about this last week about him and Ezekiel Elliott holding out. I felt that the Chargers and Melvin would come to some type of agreement on a contract. Now, I wasn't expecting this to be handled before training camp started. I did think he was going to miss some time. But the LA Chargers have stuck to their guns about everything that they said, and they got an offer. Melvin doesn't like the offer. They wanted to, stick to that and basically saying, hey, we're going to move forward with what we got. We are better with Melvin Gordon playing, but we're not going to sit here and wait. That's basically what they're getting at. And the Chargers, at this point, I think they have gained the edge. I, at this point, will think that Melvin will show up at some point, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks in, and he could even miss a game or two. But I do think he would come in and that the Los Angeles Chargers are not going to budge on this. And here are a few things why I think they're not going to budge. They've been stubborn before. They've been stubborn with, word language in a contract with Joey Bosa. I think a lot of people forget about that during his rookie season. He missed a few games. People thought, hey, bring back Antonio Gates. They didn't, go down the road of letting people push them into a certain decision. And they only brought back Antonio Gates really because Hunter Henry got hurt and they didn't have really any tight ends that knew the system the way that Antonio Gates did. So I think this is a franchise who has stuck to their guns. I think they will still do the same thing, and they will lean upon guys like Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler. And it's not the same thing, but remember when Tiki Barber retired and everyone thought that the New York Giants were just done, and guys like Brandon Jacobs, stepped up, and I'm forgetting the other gentleman, and he went to Marshall. He was number 44. I don't know. I remember all that, but for whatever reason, I can't remember his name right now. But it was those two running backs by the committee. They got the production that they needed to get, which was the W more than anything, and they won a Super Bowl without Tiki Barber. So I think this is what the LA Chargers is looking looking at is that, look, yes, without Melvin Gordon, we are taking a little bit of a step back. Can we still win games? Yes. And that's the other thing. Winning games is what it comes down to. And I think that part hurts Melvin Gordon as well, because 4 games he has missed, and 4 games the LA Chargers have won those games. So they have won games without him. They are not a team that's going to be held hostage. And then the other thing, and this is no knock on Melvin Gordon at all, because Melvin Gordon is one of the my favorite football players to watch play, is that Melvin Gordon is not a Todd Gurley. Melvin Gordon is not a Le'Veon Bell. You could argue he's not even a David Johnson, at this point. And you might say he's not an Alvin Kamara. He is a really, 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 really good football player, but I don't know if he has the leverage that he actually needs to get the contract deal that he wants, because this team, I don't see them just falling off a cliff. That's the thing that would have got Melvin Gordon a deal if he was that 90%, the team, if you will. And I know that's an absurd number, but I'm just giving you just a wacky example. But if he was that important to the offense, to the team, then I think it would be a little bit different. But because he doesn't bring that much weight to the team, they're willing to roll the dice. And if you remember last year, Austin Eckler did very well. And Justin Jackson, he was a rookie, 7th-round draft pick, I think out of Notre Dame, if I remember correctly. And he subbed in and was serviceable. So now he got a year under his belt, and these guys will work together. So Melvin Gordon, I know he has a plan, but I just hope his plan is not to sit out the entire year, because for him, I don't think that will work out. Now, there could be a trade, and if there's a trade, and he had to, and they sent him somewhere because that was his request, trade me or pay me. 2 teams that I think about that he might could end up is in Tampa Bay or Indianapolis, playing for the Colts or the Bucks. But at this point, Melvin Gordon is not in camp. So, ladies and gentlemen, you listen to the Wait a Minute Show with your man, Jelani JB Bodie. Is going down here in the ATL, in the Lions Den studios on a Wednesday, and we are talking about sports. And last show, we got into the discussion and we started talking about divisions, and we covered the AFC East, and we touched upon the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins. So we're going to do that for this episode as well. We're going to cover 2 divisions, actually. So we're going to start with the NFC East, and then later on in the show, we'll touch on the AFC South. So we're going to cover all of these divisions before the preseason is done, because it'll be here before you know it. We're almost into the month of August, and then September will be right around the corner, and then we'll be having football. So we're going to talk about all the divisions, what's going on with them, if there's something that you see, something I see, whatever it is that you may want, especially, right now, because we do have a live chat room going on. So you can type any questions or any comments you may have on the NFC East or the AFC South in there, and I'll answer your questions or reply to your comments. So, like I said, the first division we're going to touch on tonight is the NFC East. And the NFC East will consist of Dallas, Washington, Philly, and New York. So we're going to get into the Giants. We were just speaking on the Giants a little bit earlier. So with this division, it was won by the Dallas Cowboys last season. Kind of hard for me to say, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So Dallas is coming back. Obviously, they're going to try and have a repeat, performance. But you got teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, who look like they are ready to do battle. Washington have some questions that they need answered, and the Giants are the Giants. So where should we start? Let's start with the Dallas Cowboys. So they have their own situation with Ezekiel Elliott. He's saying that he's going to be holding out as well, or he hasn't decided if he's going to hold out. But he may miss, a couple days, maybe a week or something like that. They need to get him into camp, because unlike Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott is a big, big piece, very big piece to the success of the Dallas Cowboys. He helps Dak Prescott's job to be easier. He helps Amari Cooper. He helps the defense so that they stay fresh. And, the guys like Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, and so on, Byron Jones, and that list goes on, can do what they do on the defensive end because they're not out there the entire game trying to slow down an offense. So you want to get this deal, done with Ezekiel Elliott. So that is something that's out there that may loom over their head, but I do think that'll be handled sooner or later. Now, speaking of, sooner or later, sooner is what they're going to need from their new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is not even 30 years old. He just recently spent time in the NFL himself. He played for my Detroit Lions, but also he spent time with the Cowboys, and now he has been elevated to offensive coordinator. So it's going to be a lot of questions about the Dallas Cowboys as far as like how their offense will be, how Kellen Moore will be calling plays, how will he be able to improvise in the game at halftime? Will he be able to command the respect from the players? Because everything is fine right now. Everything is great because you're not down 14 or something like that. That's where you're really going to find out, what guys really think about Kellen Moore. And that's like I said before, how is he going to call plays? How is he going to put the first 12 13, 14, 15 plays? How is he going to scrimmage those coming out? On the defensive end, to me, I'm really not worried about the defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, I know that Randy Gregory is trying to get back in, Jalen Smith, Vander Esch, Byron Jones, the list goes on and on and on and on, for the defense. I think they will be all right. I don't think they're going to be, let's say, a top 5 defense, but I don't think you need to be a top 5 defense if you got someone like Zeke in the backfield. If you have your wide receivers in Randall Cobb and Amari Cooper. And they just got back Jason Witten. Jason Witten now, let's just be honest. Jason Witten is not going to be out there and be Pro Bowl Jason Witten, but he will be a target for Dak. And Dak is going into another year, and he's had the experience from day one being a rookie. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. I think Dak is going to improve. Will he be a 5,000-yard passing QB? No. And I think part of that, too, is because their offense doesn't warrant for him to have to throw for 5,000 yards in the season. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys will build off of what they had last year. They will be better. But their challenges will be, though, their offensive line is a really good one, but it's not as dominant as it once was, how people, looked at it. Tyron Smith, he has had some injuries that he had to deal with. Can he get through an entire season? We have seen how that has affected the offensive line when he is not in the game. So those are just one of many. And then at the end of the day, what is Jerry Jones going to be involved in? What is he's going to be a part of? And will he be able to reserve himself to let guys like Kellen Moore make calls, make plays, design plays that he feels is best for the team? So Dallas Cowboys is it. Next, let's touch on Washington. Washington has a quarterback, I guess you could say a quarterback competition. Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, that's been pretty much the talk as far as like what will one of those two actually take the starting position into week 1. Alex Smith, as we know, had the horrific injury last year. And he is recovering. Hopefully he can get back on the field. He did shed the brace that he had on, so that is good news. So we hope that he can get back, because you never want anyone to go out to an injury, but also you never want it to happen the way it did, to where it's considered a career-ending injury. So they lose a guy in Alex Smith for this year who was a veteran, who was going to be able to keep this team poised. And you go to a guy possibly in Case Keenum. And Case Keenum is not a bad quarterback. He's just not one of the elite quarterbacks. And